think I finally have a reason for us to actually dance around a mulberry bush, because we can get excited about the new research that's coming out surrounding mulberries and being quite promising, at least in test tube studies, with a fatty liver. So let's go ahead and break it down. Now, what we do have to remember is that the evolution of sort of research always starts with in vitro or test tube studies, right? Then we move into rodent models, then you move into human models. So yeah, there have been times when I look at these kind of in vitro studies, get really excited, and then have my soul crushed when it doesn't really work in a rodent model, right? But it's still very promising stuff because the mechanism seems pretty straightforward, and I'll explain it and break it down into very simple terms, because really, maybe we can get excited about mulberries. Hey, after today's video, check out our sponsor, Thrive Market. They're an online membership-based grocery store, but you get 25% off if you're listening this far. So 25% off using that link down below off your entire first grocery order. Okay, plus you get a free gift when you use that link below. It's like shopping at a healthy grocery store. Okay, everything is sorted by diet type. It's like you walk into a grocery store and you say, hey, there's the keto aisle. Hey, here's the gluten-free aisle. Hey, everything is organized in such a way. So if you're cognizant of what you are eating, trust me, it is a game changer. It has changed my family's life and saved us so much time not having to go to the grocery store. So check out that link, save 25% off, and use them after this video. Okay. So the research was interesting. We all know that a fatty liver is not really a good thing. There's lots of potential causes, lots of potential fixes, but it's all just ambiguous because we're all trying to wrap our heads around it. Is it fructose that causes it? Is it saturated fat that causes it? Is it sedentary life? Maybe it's all of the above. Maybe it's lifestyle. Maybe it's stress. But we are all working together to try to figure out how we can potentially mitigate the progression of it. The thing we have to be cautious with mulberries, and I'll get to this research in a minute, is they're very, very sweet. They have a lot of sugar. Okay, per 100 gram serving, I think you're looking close to 30 grams of carbohydrates. Not a lot of fiber. Most of the carbohydrates are simple sugars. So it's not like you just want to go raid a mulberry bush. You still want to kind of dance around it, just like the song, right? But if you have small amounts, maybe it's beneficial. So let's break down this study that was published in the Journal of Food Science and Agriculture. Okay, so what they did is they took a look at how mulberry water extract, so basically being able to like just take a small component of mulberry, put it into an extract form, and how it affected liver cells. What they found is that it ultimately reduced the fatty acid buildup. It reduced the fat buildup within hepatic cells. Now, it did this via two ways. It inhibited the synthesis of new fat being formed. So it slowed down new fat actually forming in the liver, which is pretty cool. That means we're potentially slowing the progression, again, in a test tube, right? Not in a human yet. Okay, but we're also seeing that it increased the oxidation of fats. So it increased the utilization and the burning of fat in the hepatic cell. This is really intriguing. Now, what's the potential mechanism here? Well, researchers looked at it, they said, okay, we are seeing an increase in what is called AMPK, which I talk about on my channel quite a bit, but just I'll enlighten you. Okay, so AMPK is the energy sensor. And when AMPK is heightened in the liver, that means the energy sensor is heightened. So this is like a switch that starts to flip when it recognizes that there's a stronger demand for energy than what is present. So basically, the liver is saying, hey, we're in a deficit, even if it's not necessarily in a deficit, right? AMPK is being elevated or heightened, which therefore says, well, we need to find some fuel. We need to be able to burn some fuel. So it starts taking the fats that are in the liver and burning it for fuel. So this is a very interesting thing. This is in essence what is happening at a global level when we are fasting. Okay, when we're fasting, we are driving up AMPK because we're literally depriving ourselves of food. So our body's energy sensor goes up and says, uh-oh, there's no food coming in, but we still have a demand for energy, so we need to get energy from other fuel sources, i.e. muscle glycogen, i.e. fat storage. If this is happening localized at the liver level, this could be very cool. Again, I cannot overemphasize, this is still an in vitro study. It's not in humans or not even in rodents yet, but with it being this AMPK potential mechanism, that is fairly cut and dry. So I think that it might be promising when it goes forward. And it's such a simple thing to be able to add in to get a mulberry extract or something like that, right? Now, another thing that makes mulberries unique is they have something called 1-DNJ. I can't even pronounce the full name of it. You can see it down below in text. It's a long term, 1-DNJ. What this 1-DNJ does, it is an alpha glucosidase inhibitor. So I want you to imagine something. You go to an airport and you have multiple different checkpoints. Okay, you go and you check your bag and you get your boarding pass, and then you go through TSA, and then after TSA you actually have to go and get on the plane. So you've got these 3 different checkpoints, right? Well, think of those checkpoints as different breakdown staging areas when you consume carbohydrates. You consume a carb, it goes through one breakdown area, breaks down into something else. Then it goes through another checkpoint, breaks down into something else. Goes through another checkpoint, breaks down finally into a monosaccharide that can digest and bring your blood glucose up. Well, I want you to imagine for a second that you get through the first checkpoint and all of a sudden security's closed. They're just closed. Like no explanation whatsoever, just closed. You're not getting on your plane, buddy, because they're closed. That is sort of what we're working with here. When we eliminate or inhibit this alpha glucosidase, we are inhibiting one of the breakdown points for glucose. So the glucose can't break down further into a monosaccharide when you consume carbohydrates. So that is a very powerful thing. It doesn't do this to every single carbohydrate you eat, but it is one more potential factor that is slowing down carbohydrate absorption, which could be good for your blood glucose modulation. So we have a double whammy that's happening with mulberries here. I think there's just a lot of research that needs to be done because it's kind of a forgotten berry that has a lot of potential. So as always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.